Hey, I got a notice, got an invitation to the wake for old Malcolm, and obviously I can't go. I'm an artist. I have to work, and it's not an easy matter for me to escape this chores that I've got to do to make some bucks as an artist. And so what I'm doing is saying a few words here, and I'm trying to remember some of the stuff that he used to do and how he got started. You know, he got started. He got started as Nicely Johnson in Guys and Dolls in junior college, as I recall. And from there, one of his mother's boyfriends was working as a comic on what was left of the burlesque, the rapidly declining burlesque and vaudeville scene in downtown. Basically, it was a strip joint, and these comics that would come out, doing 5 shows a night, and he was paid in scotch. You went back and got a shot of scotch or two, and then you went out and did your little act. He was doing the pratfalls for this baggy pants comic, and that's how he got the name Malcolm, was related to that act. Just a few of us called him Malcolm. He got going on doing productions and so forth. He was always interested in how plays are done, how performance is manufactured, how the illusion is, how reality is eaten away, and you have this performance, and people engage in the performance. And so he's just fascinated with that aspect of how that worked, and he went to a lot of trouble to get himself introduced to meet a lot of people and so forth. One of his earliest productions, he was basically the man in charge. He got just really poor reviews. He was very unhappy with the nature of the reviews he got. It was, I mean, after all, you got to fill seats. And if you got to fill seats, you got to sell some tickets. You got to have stuff's got to happen. People got to show up. And if you get a bad review, particularly in those days where all there was the newspaper and maybe a little snippet on television or something, that was all there was for arts coverage. And he just broke his heart. He was really upset because here's one of his first solo enterprises. Well, he's gone around and recruited all the actors and actresses, all the bartenders and waitresses and other people, all volunteering, and I got roped into that. That's how you do that kind of thing, is you take advantage of everybody you know. And so, he comes over on Wednesday afternoon and says, geez, I need you for just a little while. You got to drive a truck. I got the truck's got to be loaded. We got to get it to the venue. We got to put it all up and so forth. Okay, all right, I'll help you. And the next thing you know, it's Sunday morning, and you've been through 2 performances, had to rebuild the entire set. You've had to do all this work, and what you did is you came up with $50 for pizza, which was you're going to get it back from the gate, but then of course you didn't get it back from the gate, and that's how productions go. That's how he got famous, was taking advantage of others. But he had this idea, because of the bad review, that he'd take the critic to lunch, and it seemed like a dangerous and bold move. Here he is working days in a discount recycled tire shop, doing brake jobs and so forth, and looks like it. and he's going to take this critic, this important person, this intellectual, to lunch. And it's like, and we discussed it, and then I got busy and went elsewhere and forgot about it. Later on, it occurred to me that, well, how'd that lunch go? Because he's working on another production, and I'm being taken advantage of once again. And he said, how'd that lunch go? I said, oh, well, we no sooner got into the place, a bunch of discussion about what kind of a place to go to, but a middle-class, upper-range ethnic place he goes to with the critic. And he says, immediately, we have food issues. Everybody's got food issues, and, so we immediately have dietary restrictions, and you can't eat this, and you don't want to eat that, and that's immoral, and, all this discussion before we ever get. He says, but luckily, he says, just the week before, I started lactating, and so we had a nice time after all. I never found out what happened at the luncheon, but the next production he had, the next play he put on, he got reasonable reviews. It was an honest and fair appraisal of his incompetence, basically. And people came and saw the show, and it was an amusing show. That's how he got his start. He had worked, he was working as doing pratfalls. And one of the things he got to learn in working, well, not only working mostly drunk, but also working the same show over and over and over again every night for weeks on end with very minor revisions, that that it?
5 minutes.
Okay.